This
has,
conference will now be recorded.
sorry about that little extra thing, but anyways, the reason it's important that Dr. Barbara is on the line, in my opinion, is because, she's been around for a while. She's been, living this world, living life and business. Someone's really making a lot of noise, which is really, really, really not a good look. And if you continue, I'm going to have to get you off the line. So
Hey,
please,
Pascal.
please, please.
What's up, man?
Yeah. What's going
What's
on?
up, man? It's Tony,
How
man.
Hey, Tony. How you doing?
I'm at work, man, but I just wanted to give you a shout-out, brother. I'll probably come back on about a half hour and rap with you right before the end.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. But when you come back on, if you're still at work, mute your phone, my man. Please.
What I got to
So
press
that
to
way,
mute it? What I got to press?
I'm sorry?
What should I press to mute it?
I don't know. Just on your own phone. You should have a mute button on your cell phone.
Oh, just mute my phone. Okay, I got you. Yeah,
Yes,
I'll go ahead.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
All
right.
right, but please do come back on, because as I mentioned earlier, with Dr. Barbara on the line, I think it's going to be an awesome call. So I think everybody's going to learn like a whole heap a lot.
Okay. What is he going over, Pascal? Business credit?
Oh man, we're just gonna go over life and business and how to go through trials and tribulations and still come out on the other side. How to master what you're doing, which is in our Moving Mountain series. And just come back on, man. Come back on. I think you're gonna like it.
Okay, gotcha.
Dr.
I'll be
Barbara,
back on
are you there?
probably about a half hour. That'll work.
Okay, sounds good. Dr. Barbara.
Talk to you soon.
Dr. Barbara.
Good morning.
Okay, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, yeah, am I clear?
Cool. All right. So once again, I've mentioned your name like multiple times. I'll mention it again. This is Dr. Barbara, who is someone we've done business. How long ago was it that we did business together, and have subsequently done business ever since, here and there. And we've definitely had multiple conversations, long conversations on the phone. So how long would you guesstimate?
I was doing some business at my daughter's when we first talked, so that's about close to 8 years now.
Good Lord, time flies.
It does.
It really does. So, what I'm, you can talk about whatever it is that you want, because honestly, with our conversations that we've had about life and business and what have you, I believe personally that you imparting, your life and business experiences will be very beneficial, because as I keep on saying on these calls, somebody's making a lot of extra noise. I don't know what they're doing, but it's not a good look. So, but anyways, I would really like for you to just impart your wisdom in more in particular, at least in the beginning here. I don't want to kind of like get into your personal world, but you've gone through a lot here lately, and what is very impressive to me is the fact that you are are coming out on the other side of very, what can be considered as very difficult life experiences, back to back to back to back. But the fact that your human spirit is allowing you to continuously push forward, and that to me is empowering, and it's very important. So I'm gonna give it to you, and please introduce yourself to everyone, and let's get this party started.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dr. Barbara Reed Vasquez. And as Pascal said, we've been knowing each other quite a while. He's been through some of my hills and valleys. And what he's talking about is recently, in the last, I guess, 2 months or so, I've had not the pleasure, but I've had the call to bury four um, different people, two being my own personal family. So I've been dealing with my own backyard, and two people who were very vital to my life, which was one of my escrow officers. We did some awesome business together, and we were just getting ready to send a file over to her, and we were all jazzed up about it because, she taught me a lot. Um, and on the interim of that, we taught each other a lot. And she just became a friend as well.
Can anyone hear me out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, but if you can not talk right now, that'd be appreciated.
So in any case, it's a lot to handle. It's a lot to deal with. And in the beginning, you think you can't deal from the first perception of it. You think your mind begins to say you can't deal with it. And it's because your mind cannot comprehend a life um, moving to another dimension. And no matter how much you get ready for it, there's no such thing. You'll never get ready for it. So that's been my last 4 months or 3 months life experiences that I am just completing. Um, last, no, thank you, Lord. It's 2 weekends ago, which was my brother. And so I'm in recovery for that. But the main thing that I've been dealing with and that the Lord has been giving me now, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to let you know early. Um, he's been dealing with me about time. Now, the series is about breakthroughs. And I know that time had everything to do with the recovery process, the going through all of the dimensions of where I was, because you have all these different cycles that happen. You're angry, you're depressed, you're sad, you're happy. You've got all of these mixed emotions that come in at the same freaking time. And so it makes you think you're losing your mind. It's not. It's just that the mind cannot process a being moving to a different dimension, which is death. You can't comprehend it because you're not taught to, number one, and number two, you're not placed in a place of time. Um, we live in a time continuum, which things are always rerouting itself. Like I know you've heard the saying, um, the things of the past are coming back around again. The mini skirts, the jeans, the bell bottom pants. Those are time continuums because they keep coming back around. In any case, this is what I am, and everything I'm going to talk to you about today is actual life functionality that I'm living in. It's not something that I'm working on. It's not something that I'm waiting to perceive. It's something I'm doing on a day to day basis. And one of the things I was asking about was what is the key to breakthroughs? Because that's the series. What is the key to breakthroughs? What are the breakthroughs that we deal with? Well, one of the breakthroughs that I've dealt with was the time in between hearing uh, the passings and figuring out how to set it up and how to do it. And then getting to the end of that and understanding it all. When I look back, I understand it now when I didn't understand it at first. But what what the word was for me, and if you don't mind, I'm going to give you Ecclesiastes 3 1 through 10. It talks about that to everything, everything, and in everything, nothing left out. So in everything, there is a season. Um, and in every time, for every purpose under the heavens, a time. And now, my key thing here is about the word time. There's a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which was planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down. So if you have breakdowns in times, that means you must have breakthroughs. A time to build, a time to weep, did a lot of that. A time to laugh, believe it or not, did that too. A time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to render, which is services, and a time to sow, a time to, to keep silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What profit has he that worketh in that which he laboreth? And then he travails, and men are to exercise in it. So I gave you that because everything is about time. Everything. Everything. These are the two things I believe, know, and function in, that people who have a lot of time don't have a lot of money. And people who have a lot of money don't have very much time. So their value becomes more valued because they don't have the time to give you those essence that has taken them to the peak of where they don't have a lot of time. So when you don't have a lot of time, you have money. I mean, I'm sorry. When you don't have, yeah, when you don't have a lot of time, you have money. When you don't have a lot of money, you have time. So my main thing here is um, prioritizing time. And in that, you have to figure out what are your issues, because all of us have issues. Now, for my time for the last, I guess you'd say 3 months, because I'm not going to get into it. I've had friends, um, 3 or 4 friends that passed away a couple of months ago. So uh, I would say between, this is July. So July, June, April, and May. So from April, and the issues that I've had was to deal with the services, to deal with all that is concerned with that, and to do my business. Now, I found for me, it was easier to do my business than it was to do the services and put the family stuff together and all that. I would rather do business 24 hours a day than to have to um, dealing with my family, number one, and then dealing with the circumstances of putting things together. So I would focus in my work because I didn't want to deal with anything else. But as my husband told me, he says, "Honey, you're gonna have to. I'll take over the stuff in the business, and just give me instruction, and you do this, and take care of what you need to do. And I'm like, no, no. You, whatever you can do on that side, you handle that. I'll just do, take care of my business stuff that I need. But I couldn't do that. I had to get back in focus and deal with the family's issues. So, issues could be anything. Issues could be that you might be the type of person that can start a project, but you can't finish it. Or, and I know some people like that, um, or you may be the kind of person that,
Hello, Dr. Barbara.
uh,
Okay, go
also,
ahead. You kind of went out for a second.
oh, I did.
Yeah, but no, go ahead, please. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay. And back to the time of breakthroughs, prioritizing your time. What are your issues? Um, let me tell you some of my issues. Some of my issues are when everybody depends on you, um, it tends to get in your time. Like people say, such and such got in my face. Well, they get in your time. And so when they get in your time, according to your personality, if they have the ability to manipulate you, or if you're the kind of person that's, open to people and their priorities, they make their priorities seem like they're more valuable than yours. And you're easygoing and you're the kind of person like, okay, you'll stop what you're doing to help them. That's robbery. Because, like I said from the beginning, your time is money and your money is time. There's no such thing as a person having a lot of time and a lot of money. It's just not true. You either have a lot of money and no time, or you have a lot of time and no money. Those that do have time and money, they're paying a percentage of that money in order to buy back some of their time. So the first thing is you got to figure out whatever your issues are, and you got to write them down so you can understand what your issues are. Some people don't want to deal with their issues, but it's going to invade your time. It's going to rob you of your time, which is basically just taking your wallet. Um, know where you need your attention to go inside of those issues. Where does your attention need to go? Breakthroughs or breakdowns come from your time. Breakdowns come from your time. Time that's not paid attention to, which means money is going out the window because there was no steps that needed to be taken that was taken. Um, Lord gave me a long time ago. I used to say to my employees, I had a 48 bed facility for seniors, RCFE, and and we also had a healthcare facility. And I used to tell my employees, listen, pay attention because attention pays. I picked that up because when I first got my facility, I transitioned it into just a regular facility, into having all the doctors come to the facility to see our clients. Um, I didn't transport clients. I mean, they did that in the facility before I got it. But once I got it, I was like, no, the doctors are going to have to come here to see the clients. We're not going to transport. The insurance on transporting was expensive. Now, had I not paid attention to that, we would have been wasting more money because there was no attention to that particular issue. Um, The breakthrough is your time. Because as you can see, even in the scriptures, and believe it or not, in your MasterCard, in your Visa, your American Express, whatever your cards are for business, it's about the time in it. Because as soon as you use, let's say $1, I don't care how much you have in it. Let's say you have $140,000 in cards. It doesn't matter. It's the same $1 because as soon as you use that $1, the time starts ticking. Why does the time start ticking? Because it starts ticking toward your ending balance, your statement, your closing statement balance. Your ending balance is how much credit's been used in that pay cycle, and your closing statement is the date plus the amount. So the time starts ticking as soon as you spend $1. And a lot of times when you don't pay attention to that, you pay these overly fees that you didn't have to. Now, a lot of the cards are from 3% to 29.5% interest rate. So if you put 29.5% on $1, then you're paying close to $29 to $30 for that $1. But if you pay attention to the closing statement date and pay whatever payment needs to be in there before that, then it doesn't matter because the 29% interest rate is void because you did it between their deadlines. And if you pay attention to the deadlines on each and every statement or on each and every card, because some people don't do paper statements anymore. I still do paper statements, old school. Gonna keep on doing paper statements. They say it's about the trees. Trust me, it's not about the trees. Um, it's too easy to lose information or statements um, through the internet. So if you have a paper statement that proves whatever it is you've done or paid or the season of timing that you paid it in, you don't have anything to back you up. So I don't do paperless. I still do it my paper. I just once I get it, scan it in, and I may choose to hold it. Then I may choose to shred it. But 90% of the time, I haven't shredded anything. I have my paper statements. And again, the breakthroughs are in your time. Stewardship is not stewarding in money. Stewardship is stewarding in time. Stewardship is stewarding in time. Because without the time, there is no money, and money brings time. It brings more opportunities. Prioritizing your time will prioritize your money. Times and seasons will tell you what's going on. Like, say, for example, um, the season that I had to do the uh, funeral services, or I usually say celebration of life. I don't do homegoings or any of that. I do celebration of life because that's what you're doing. You're celebrating the person's life and their legacy. And so I realized in that season of time that I was doing that, um, when the season came in, the time started ticking because even when you're doing a service and you have to get the hospitals or you have to get the mortuaries or cemeteries involved, there is another time continuum. Then the time is ticking again. Because, like, say, for my brother, for instance, I had to I had to remove him from when he passed at the hospital. I had to remove him from the hospital to some place where we had time to set up the services and get everything together. Well, the hospital only gave us, like he passed on a Thursday. We were on Memorial Day weekend, right? So we only had a little bit of time to remove him, but I mean, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is a holiday, so nobody's working in that season of time. But the time is ticking. So in that season, there was only so much time that we had to give to it. And if you don't get them removed at a particular time, then they send them to whatever mortuary that is that has that district. So in our case, he was going to go to Inglewood. Well, Inglewood costs you. It starts you out with $69 a night, like you're going to a hotel, and it cost uh, after the first 5 days of $69 per day. Then it goes up another $10. So now you're doing $79 a day, and each week after that, it goes up $10 just to house or to hold the body until it's time to make arrangements or complete the arrangements. So that season had a timeline in it as well. Every season of your life has a distinct timeline. Every time it's time for you to pay whatever credit card or business card you have a timeline, and the clock starts ticking as soon as you either get the card or already have the card. As soon as you swipe it, as soon as you give the numbers to somebody else to key in, as soon as you in the gas tank, whatever you're doing, your season and that timing starts clicking until the close out statement date. Now, the reason I'm giving you this information is because this is something that I've been dealing with and I've been looking at. Now, I'm not a CPA, but the way I've had to function in my business, you would think I'm a CPA. Because those are some of the key things not told to you. And those are some of the key things that um, allow you to understand that in your business, you're going to have to keep a time restraint on your money cards. You're going to have to know how to estimate the time of payments. You're going to have to know how to utilize that estimation in a way that's going to benefit you and not them. Because if you don't, then you're going to pay that $30 for 29.5% interest rate on that dollar on your closing statement date. Time is measured in season it is. You have to pay attention to that in order to get that. Stewardship, which is to make sure that all of your monies, like they say, all your ducks in a row, all your monies are in a good place. Now, what I had to do is that I had to open up two accounts, two business checking accounts, and in the two business checking accounts, one was just the extra account, and the first one was the utilization account, the one that you put money in. However, just a little tidbit here. This is going to be an extra gift to you. When you get two bank accounts with the same banking system, when you get your funds in, you put them in your utilization system first, your first banking account, and then you transfer to your second banking account. And then when it's time to utilize the money, you pull it out your second account, put it back in the first account. Why? Because now you have two statements that build up a cash. It looks like a cash reserve, but what it does is it mimics and allows you to show that you're making 11, 12, 13, $15,000 a month when really you're probably only making $5,000 a month. So that was just a little extra for you. Um, and so when I had learned to do that, I understood it still had to do with timing. So whenever I'm paying my accounts, I'll take those funds and then I'll put them in my utilization account where the cards are going to debit for your payment. I'll put them in that account first and then I'll take the funds and I'll put it over in my other account and I'll let it sit there for 24 hours. Then I'll transfer it back. And every time you do that, it shows when you get your bank statement, it'll show your daily rate. It'll show your daily ledger that shows that you had any period of time during that month. You had $1,000, you had $2,400, you had $900, you had $800, you had, and so it shows that your funds are in a high status. So whenever you need to do a loans, now right now I'm just talking about cards because loans are a whole different animal. But whenever you get ready to do a larger loan, 250,000 or more, then when you show your bank statements, you have two separate accounts. You have two separate bank statements, which look like you make 12, 15, $20,000 a month. Because with those two accounts, if you have half in one and half in the other, or three-fourths in one and whatever in the other one, it shows how much money you have coming into that account. So timing and season tell you to play with the money. Um, and this is a game. Business is a game. And the reason I call it a game is because some people may say, "No, that's my life." Yeah, it is, but it's a game on the other hand because um, this is a I'm not going to say it the way my husband said it, but it's it's not when you're in business, you're not supposed to be a consumer. Most people think that they're still consumers, which is a mindset, and it has to be a mind change that happens. But most people think that they're consumers when they go out and buy things because we've been labeled consumers, but we're not consumers. We are service renderers. We render a service. um, no matter what it is, you're still rendering a service. When people have to come to you to get you to help them with whatever it is, you're rendering a service. And the Bible talks about rendering. So when you render, there's a time to render things. So we render services. Most of the things that, beside my, besides working in the hospital and branching out and doing my own senior facility, and then from there did a lot of other different kind of facilities. Um, when I met Pascal, him and I started working on CPNs, and that was a great business because he was there with me. I didn't really know what it was going to entail or how to function in it, but the time and the season that we met, the season told me that it was time for me to work with him. And when we started working together, he made himself available so that I could know what I was doing, where I was doing it, how I was doing it. And it worked out well. But then when the season changes and it's amazing because we started doing the same things at the same time. We started doing uh, loans, or not so much as loans, but commercial industry, business, um, corporations, and corporate services, which is a huge industry. And no matter how many thousands of people you run into that say, "Oh, We help you get your business cards. We help you do all these things. The industry is still huge. And the reason why I can say that is because in the healthcare industry, there are thousands of business people and entrepreneurs that are in our industry, and they don't have corporations. You wouldn't believe how many people I've ran across who don't have corporations, and they're functioning in a business, and they're doing sole proprietorship. And so that's another thing as far as time and how it allows things to steal from you when your time is evaluated and your time is not looked at as valuable. But the first thing is that we have to value our time. We have to value it. Um, I wanted to say here, we create our own breakthroughs, and some things may seem like it's difficult, but it's back to what are your issues? What are the personal things that you have to overcome and deal with? That's what brings in your breakthroughs. It's about time. If your time is not organized, then you lose opportunities and money. And we've also said that opportunities come for those who are ready. But believe it or not, opportunities come for those who are not ready too. Doesn't mean you're going to be able to get on the bandwagon. It's just going to mean it's going to pop up and say, "Hey, how you doing? I came for you, but I see you're not ready." And it moves on. And then you may have to wait a hell of a long time for that same opportunity to come around again. And so, but there's opportunities that are coming every day. But when we're not associated or paying attention to the seasons, because seasons tell you time, and time tell you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree 1,000%.
And so, stewarding your time is going to be your greatest asset, and it's also going to be your greatest issue because it's going to take you back to whatever your issues are, whatever you have a situation with. I'm not going to say problem because nothing's really a problem. My grandmother used to always say to me, a problem's only a problem when you can't identify the problem. But the problem is no longer a problem when you can identify what the problem was. So once you take that stewardship and those issues, they will guarantee breakthroughs in every area, every level of your life. It will guarantee. Time is such a great commodity. Do you know time is the only real valuable asset we have? It's not things, it's not cars, it's not houses, it's not, I mean, because when you get ready to meet your maker, it's not going to matter. You're not taking any of that. You're not taking any of that. Naked you came, naked you're going to leave. So you're not taking any of that. So that's not the greatest commodity. Your greatest commodity is time. Greatest commodity is time. And I believe,
Good morning. Can I add to that?
go ahead.
Not only is it time, there used to be an old school saying, time is of the essence. Same thing. If you don't take the time that you're given, you're usually just wasting time in that instant. So my add to this is that in that time, because someone else will come up with the same idea, the same business plan, the same, and they'll actually act on it. And usually I like, which I've added to Pascal, and good morning, everyone. I go with a list to today's date. And on that list, if it's 10 things that I feel like I need to prioritize, I tackle them one at a time. accomplishing something every day because I understand that time is of the essence. So there you feel like, okay, I'm progressing. I'm not wasting time. I'm actually utilizing the time that I've been given because it's so precious. And for every day that is passing and you're not accomplishing one thing off of that list, then you're pushing yourself further and further away from the goals, ultimately, which should be to change lives for others. Everything I do with my business, my goal is to how can I inspire someone today? How can I change someone's life today for the good? How can I take with this time? How can I just utilize the opportunity that we're given? Because sometimes we waste time not doing the right things with the time that we're given. And if you're not somewhere on that list of things that you've itemized, if you're not helping someone each and every day that you're blessed with that opportunity to present whatever it is that you offer with your business, then you're really not striving towards that goal. And the goal is providing and helping others, showing others. Everything we do is to help someone that's struggling or helping someone that's in need. And being an entrepreneur, we're like at the top of that list for being great influencers in the world globally, just not in your local sector, I like to say. So definitely time is of the essence. I encourage people all the time, whatever it is, write it down on paper. It's like an affirmation for yourself. And if you go back to the affirmation and you read it daily, I promise you, you will accomplish something with the time that you've been giving that will definitely impact others in the world. You'd be amazed. It could be one sentence, one phrase, one word. And it's like a light bulb that comes on, or a click, or a snap of a finger. And then that way, not only are you growing and progressing in your field and your area of expertise, but you inspire others to do the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Um, and
Oh, no, so welcome. It's my pleasure.
to add on to what you're saying, in Habakkuk 3:2, and it says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time." Here we are back to time again. "But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." So that's a promise that when you write your goals down, I used to pray about, um, what do you mean, um, those that see it run with it? And then he gave me categories. He said, well, he said it's like writing down your vision, but then every time you look at your vision, it inspires you to run. And so you start running with it. But then when you package it in a business plan and you show it to somebody else and they see it, then they take it and run with it. But the main thing for me is when he says you have to write it down, because then the angels will see it and then they can go and bring in what it is that you're waiting on. That's what he gave me. So your word today is absolutely right on time. Time is of the essence. And and
Time
the
waits for
greatest thing
no
is
one.
some people are afraid of time. And to fear time, and you say, well, what does that mean? Well, some people are afraid to face whatever their issues are, which means they're afraid to deal with time. I had a client, matter of fact, I still have this client, and his wife used to get so freaking frustrated with him. And I'm saying that like that because I started getting frustrated with him because we would have a timeline on things we needed to get done. And so you brought me in to help you get things done. But then whenever we got back together on our set time, you didn't do anything. It's like, and his wife says, well, he just runs away, he runs away. And I said, oh, he's afraid of time. You believe it or not, people are afraid of time. They may use a lot of different things saying, okay, well, it's not time I'm afraid of, especially if you bring it to their attention. Oh, it's not time I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of time. I just get hung up with, all the things that have to be done, the to-dos and the list and all that. No, it's time. Um, and when you look at it, people have difficulty back to where I've been functioning in when people have to leave, when people move to the new dimension. And so it's death they're afraid of. So time, sometimes, according to how you perceive it in your perception, sometimes people see time as they gotta, they're gonna, it's gonna take them out. They're gonna die. And I've dealt with younger people, very, very young, and they that they're going to leave out early because they've been messing with the gangs, or they've been living lascivious lives, and so they're out there. So they say, well, time's going to tell, and yes, time is going to tell, but hopefully you'll still be here when that time comes to tell. um, and so I realized that he was afraid of time. How did I deal with him? Well, listen to me. Everyone that's on this call, if you're doing business in any manner, if you're deciding to do business in any manner, deal with your issues. Because what's going to happen is that you're going to have to deal with other people's issues. You're going to have to see their issues through. You're going to have to listen to, counsel with. You're going to have to deal with whatever their situations or circumstances are in whatever seasons they're in. Everybody's not going to come to you in the summertime. And what I mean by that is, when I say seasons, we have 4 seasons. So, which one of those seasons, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes socially, are these people going to be in when they come to you to pay you for your services? They may not come in summer. It may not be the birds are out and the chirping and singing and there's sweet music in the air. It may not be that. You may get them in the winter of their life. So when you get them in winter, you've got to know what time and season they're in. You got to know when they start talking to you about certain things, that you have the stamina to listen, because as you listen, that's paying attention. Paying attention pays, because listening will allow them to say what it is. You'll be able to pick it up, and then you'll be able to direct them through not only their season that they're going through, putting their time in a place of organization and management, and then seeing them break through. But not seeing them break through from the essence of, oh, I helped them break through. No, no, no. Seeing them break through from themselves. Because a lot of times being held back is about yourself. It's not about anybody else. It's not about outside situations of you. Most people talk about things that are outside of them, but until you deal with the things inside of you, that's going to be your biggest challenge. And I've been in business now. Uh, I've been in business now 45 years, because I got in business when I was 25, I believe. Uh, I was pregnant. I was in school. I had a family, and I was working, doing putting a business together part time, which was my family's, which was a janitorial service. And uh, God blessed me to do this janitorial service for the handicapped and deaf. I'm an interpreter for the deaf as well. So I lucked up on that. Well, I'm not going to say luck because I've always considered myself very blessed. So I I was blessed up on getting this service, putting it together without a dime. Never had the money to do any of this. I just did it purely in season, time, and faith. And because I was young enough to move out of my own way, I was open to be there for an opportunity that came at that season of time that it was supposed to come. And it was amazing. The only situation for me at that season of time in my life was that I the business went well for the first couple of years. But then when I got pregnant with my second child, then that was kind of difficult to do. And it was because I didn't recognize I needed to have someone that could stand in my place and not me be the one that's there all the time. And so because I didn't have that degree of knowledge, and don't get me wrong, I went to school. I've always been going to school. I'm going to school now. I've always been someone who loves to learn. I have this need to learn. Um, I've always had this need to learn. I've always felt like when you're not learning, you're going backward. And believe me, when you work with seniors, you understand. You get a real grip on that because when you're not learning, you're depreciating like a car, like something that used to be valuable that is no longer valuable. And in this society today, if you don't keep your mind right, if you don't keep your time and seasons clear, if you don't pay attention, you tend to start being devalued. Because if you notice, there's not a lot of respect these days in the land. Kids will say anything, it's just not the same. However, it still takes me back to the time and seasons of how opportunities are there. They're always there, they're always knocking on your door. But if you don't have the ability to know what your issues are so that you can identify them and then turn around and say, okay, this person over here came and they were going to give me some information, but I couldn't take the information because I was in my way. A lot of people are not going to confess up to that, but until you go to the place that you can deal with yourself, you can open a business, but unless you have somebody in there who have their issues straight and who can deal with things that you can't deal with, then the business will run great because you have somebody in that space. But if you don't, if you're starting out, or you've just gotten into a certain place in your business and you wanted to go to the next level, let me give you a little key to how you know you're in your way. When it's time for your business, the season has come, it's time for your business to move to another realm. Okay, let's say you've mastered getting your business cards, you've mastered, you've got, let's say, $100,000. Let's say you did good and you did $100,000. And that doesn't negate those who only made it to 50. It's only going to brighten up your understanding of what you need to do. So you got $100,000, but you keep trying to get into the 200 realm, the 300 realm. You need $500,000 for this huge project you want to work on, or you need $1,500,000, or you need 3 million, or you need 10 million, or you need $250 million. Now I know I've gone way out because those steps are the steps that will help you go to the next level. But if you're in your own way and you can't seem to break through that next ceiling, it's because you're in your own way. That's why I said from the beginning, you have to deal with whatever your issues are. If you're the kind of person that starts something and can't finish it, then what you need to do is that you need to get a mentor that can show you how to hire in the areas that you're weak so that you can keep moving forward. So, say for instance,
We've lost you, Dr. Barbara.
okay, can you
I can hear you now.
okay. Say you need to get in that $200,000 realm. And for some reason, it just seemed like you're putting the paperwork together. You got that done. You're putting all these things together, and you got all your documentation together, and you put it in, and so they keep, sending it back that, oh, you can't do it at this point. We regret to say, oh, we're sorry, you can't do it this time, and then you do it again, and you keep hitting that wall. Something's in your way. 90% of the time, it's you. There is an issue that you may have to swallow your pride and deal with you. And as soon as you deal with you, because, okay, back to my client, um, finally got him from not being, basically, finally got him from not being in the time and season he needed to take care of those things he needed to at the time and season he needed to. So we finally got him to break through in that area. And so then as soon as he broke through that area, then there was another one right behind it because there's always a twin to something. You know how you say in your life, people say, "Oh, you remind me of such and such." Are you sure you don't have a twin? Because there's a twin behind every little thing. There's another part of you. You probably got the edge off, and so you're good because you've shaved off the edges off your corners. You're not as quick to judge, or you're not as quick to um, have low self-esteem. You're in a place now that you're good. You're not as introverted as you used to be, and you're not as extroverted as you used to be. Extroverted is great. However, sometimes my mother used to play this song years ago. I forgot who made it, but it says, "You talk too much, you worry me to death. You talk too much, you talk and you worry my pet," or something like that. And I said, "That's deep. If you talk like that." Well, some people that are introverted, I mean extroverted, they they tend to talk and they may get some of the information to you, but 90% of what really needs to be gathered isn't gathered simply because they haven't shaved that part off, or they haven't grown in a certain level. But time and season will always bring you back to whatever your issues are. It will not let you escape. And I'm saying this to you because that's where I've been. And the older I become, and I'm aging gracefully, I start to understand that
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just thought that was really cute. Aging gracefully. I like that. But go ahead. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
But I realized that because, when I started getting a certain age, a friend of mine's, another doctor, asked me to come to her session or something she had. And so I told her, sure. And so I went, and I was, and you can laugh if you'd like. I'm only telling you real life. I was sort of offended when I got there. And the reason for that was they were, you know, one man was on a cane and the other man had a walker, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this? Why am I here? Because I didn't consider myself in that age group, right? And I might have been a year or two younger, but still, you know, and I found myself offended. And I had to start dealing with that new issues. Now listen, your issues are never just going to go away because as you grow in age, as you grow in stability, as you grow in your mind, and hopefully you're going to shed things as you grow in your mind, you're not going to get stuck. You start realizing, you're in another dimension. I'm in another place in my life. And so I didn't say it to her, but I said it to my best girlfriend. And I said, are we like that? And she said, now, she said, now, I'm not going to agree, right? No, we not. And I said, so why am I offended? Why am I feeling out of place or feeling like, and then it made me start really realizing that no, I wasn't their age. However, I was in the group. You don't have to be a person's age to be in the group. And some of the people she had there were still just living their life, no matter what their life entailed. They were still just living their life. Now, mind you, it took me a couple of weeks to even get to that point of realizing, don't judge those people. They're living their lives, no matter how they're living their lives. If they're on a walker, if they're in a wheelchair, if they're whatever, they're living their lives. Why does living their lives bother you? Well, back to the thing about time reminds you of death. So you get back to time again, and whatever your new issues are that you've just now recognized, and they're not new, there's something that you've done all of your life. Is just that as you get to a certain place in your life, and the time exchanges, which means when you go through young adult 20s to 30s, and then when you go from your 30s to your 40s, and when you go from 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, those are truly different seasons of time that's going to bring about new information in your life, and you're not sometimes ready for it. And so that was the situation with my client, was not ready to deal with the situations. Why? He had a really bad trauma. And as he got older, he started recognizing the trauma wasn't really the trauma. It was just his perception of it, which caused it to be a trauma. His grandmother passed in his arms, and she was basically the one who raised him. And so he started having this buildup of being afraid of time, because every time somebody mentioned time, and it was such a just a little thing. And then you look at every time it was time to pay a bill, or he'd be late because we had to deal with his credit. He'd be late, and every time it was time to take care of getting his documents together that had a timeline on it, he'd be late. And it's like, what is it with you and time? It was the thing of death caused him, as he perceived it, caused him to think that every time every time there's a timeline or something, and that's why they call it a deadline, that everything after this period of time is dead. And so I could understand how he perceived that, because he couldn't do deadlines. Deadlines were crucial to him. He could not function mentally, emotionally, socially on deadlines. So what we had to do is set up someone who they could work their documents and then pass it over a week or 2 weeks before, so that the other person who doesn't have a problem with that, who doesn't have an issue with that, would be able to make sure their things were on time and that they had no deadlines. So I had to work a schedule around the deadline so that he'd never get to a deadline. And that's a little trick, but that's how we were able to get him past where he was when I found out what the issue really was with him, which was time. I'm not going to hog up all of your time, um, Pascal. I just wanted to look.
You're good. But I do want to say we are at that time. No pun intended. We are at that time where it is now 10:11, and so we end the call at 10. I just wanted to let those know that 10 o'clock is our time to get off the call. But if anybody has anything they want to add or say or discuss, we can go a little bit longer. I'm perfectly okay with that. But first and foremost, for those, before people get off the call, and I don't know if you have to go, Dr. Barbara, but I'm very, 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 very appreciative of you taking your time, and coming on this call and giving of yourself. And that is extremely important. Everybody that comes on these calls, I want you to understand that, these calls should not be about just one of us. It should not be about Pascal, right? So I am the facilitator of these calls, obviously, but it is imperative that everybody that comes on these calls that is an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, you come on the call and you glean as much information as you can, which is extremely important. But it's also important for you to come on the call and share your journey. And the reason that's so imperative is because your journey is going to be different than Dr. Barbara's. It's going to be different than mine. It's going to be different than half a dozen other people that are on the call. And so we need to hear your journey, because your journey, whatever it may be, is going to help and assist us grow in our own existences, and that's what's so important. So, I know a fair amount of the people that come on the call, and you're entrepreneurial, and I know this because I've talked to a lot of you. Come on the call and share your journey, So, Dr. Barbara, once again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey and imparting so much information and knowledge, with us. But as everybody on this call should know and probably knows, is that, as Dr. Barbara had mentioned, her belief system is Christianity. My belief system is more universality, if you will. I don't believe in a deity outside of myself. But the magic of that is that, you don't have, I don't give a crap what you believe in. But we as human beings should be able to share. Dr. Barbara and I have a wonderful relationship, and I understand her belief system. I get it. I read it, as a matter of fact. But I read a lot of different belief systems, right? And, because I was raised in the church, Christianity. But for me, I like to read everything and glean as much as I can, because I believe there's wisdom in all belief systems, if you will, regardless to what they may be. But Dr. Barbara and I are still, as human beings, moving down, maybe different pathways, but still nonetheless, the same direction, if you will, are still able to share and have wonderful conversations. And I think that you all would be able to do the same with us. You all would be able to give us, if you chose to speak up, talk, and not make this just about Pascal and Pascal's journey, but about you and your journey and you helping other people. Because I'm telling you, the more I talk and the more I give of myself, the faster I grow. And that is a fact. The faster I grow, because I'm giving of myself, I'm teaching, I'm coaching, and it allows me to grow because it's making me think. And I'm telling you, if you do the same, it will help you grow as well. I don't give a shit what your business is. It will help you grow. So there's something else I want to add real quick. And I want people to look up this lady. Her name is Annie Turnbow Malone. Now, for those of you that are online, you can find her. You'll see her information online. Now, see, the reason I brought up Annie Turnbow Malone is because I want it understood how strong and how great the human spirit is. Now, here's a person who was born, number one, black, number two, a woman, number three, and this is extremely important, she was born 4 years after slavery, quote unquote, ended, right? And she was born in August 9th, 1869. Now, this lady, who passed in 1957, died at 87 years old, is really, very inspirational to me, because a lot of people give Madam C.J. Walker credit for being the first self-made woman millionaire in this country who happened to be black, right? But in actuality, Annie Turnbow Malone was the first self-made millionaire in this country, self-made female millionaire in this country, who also happened to be black and also was a woman, right? And so she had two very huge things against her. Being a woman in the 1800s was extremely difficult, extremely difficult. Being a woman of color in the 1800s was freaking really ridiculously difficult. But nonetheless, she was able to create a business which was called Poro. She was a chemist. How crazy is that, right? She was a chemist in the 1800s and an entrepreneur. So she had created her own product line called Poro for women's hair care. And she had over 75,000 distributors in the 1800s selling her product, all the way from the U.S. to Japan to Russia and into Europe in the 1800s. So what is our excuse? My God, we have no excuse. I know I don't have any excuse. I know that I am exactly where I'm at because I have put myself here, good, bad, or indifferent. I know that I don't have the things that I truly want and desire because I know that I've put myself in my own way. I know that I have not moved the mountains, which is the series that we're working on right now, which is moving mountains, right? And when you look at people, and I want everyone to do your own research, find people that were under the most difficult circumstances, and nonetheless became what you aspire to be. So here we are once again with Annie Turnbull Malone, who created millions of dollars in the 1800s as a woman of color. And that to me is amazing, and it doesn't, you don't have to just, I'm not saying focus on people of color, focus on anybody who had situations much more difficult than your own and were able to achieve greatness, right? Model some of what made them great. And the key, I believe, is getting out of our own way and pushing or moving those mountains that we all impose upon ourselves. And the other thing that I want to do is, I mentioned this last week because I think it's important, but once again, I find knowledge wherever I can find it. So if you guys would like, you can go and just read Psalms 82, 1 through 8, right? And the reason I bring this up, and I brought it up last week, is because I think it's so imperative for us to understand who we are, right? And so, you can find this in every belief system that there is. But if you just go to Psalms 82, which is PSALM for those of you who don't follow the Bible, but PSALM 82, and you can Google it obviously or Bing or whatever, and just do 1 through 6, and 6 is really what I carry around in my wallet, where once again it says, and this is God talking to you, right? So in the Bible anyway, and it says, I have said, ye are gods, all, and all of you are children of the Most High. And then, but all in here in this, Psalms 82, it's referring to you as being God, right? It tells you that you're going to die as a man, but you will fall as a prince, right? So the Bible is very male-centric, if you will, but so you can change it in your mind to fall as a princess, So it's saying that you are beyond who you say you are right here, right now, right? We are greater than what we say we are right here, right now. And you get out of your own way and understand who you are and the greatness that you have within you. It's very important, very important. And you don't have to be a religious person to heed wise words, right? So, anyways, y'all, I just wanted to put that out there. Please participate and come on these calls, because it's to enrich all of us in our lives and in our businesses overall. If anyone wants to talk to me or do coaching with me, give me a call, 951-515-4728. I charge $250 an hour, as you all know, and it's a 2-hour minimum, so you got to come up with $500. But I guarantee you it's more than worth it. And I would believe that if Dr. Barbara, if she so desires, I don't know what her schedule is like, you can, I'm not going to put this out there in that way. I'll say if she is willing, she is a person of great wisdom, great knowledge in both life and business. And if you want to pay her $250 an hour with a 2-hour minimum, she may take you on as well. I don't know. Dr. Barbara, is that something you're willing to do?
Yes, I'm willing to do that.
Okay. So if I don't know, how do you want to give out your contact information?
I'm better done with texting, so it's 626-428-9378, because if I'm in a business meeting, I can answer you back through a text versus answering the phone.
Okay. So once again, if you would give out your information, please.
It's 626-428-9378.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Barbara, and thank you everybody else that has come on the call. I'm really, 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 really pleased with the call today, and I'm very thankful. Does anybody have anything to say before we get off the line? Okay. Anything in the chat? Let me see if there's something in the chat. We're just saying thank you. Great call. More thank yous and great call type of verbiage in the chat, which is awesome. So, anywho, thank you again, Dr. Barber, for coming on the call. I greatly appreciate it. And for everybody else on the call, thank you as well. And we're going to end this call. Thank you, everybody. And we'll talk soon. Talk next Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's that. Thank you again, Dr. Barber, for coming on and sharing your time. I'm sorry, somebody said something?
I was just saying, have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Thank you again. Bye-bye.